Shopify just released an AI tool called SimJim that simulates shoppers on your store. So instead of waiting weeks for A/B tests, it runs them in minutes. I borrowed a real Shopify store to try it out. Let's see how good it actually is and what it finds. Alright, let's install it first. As you can see, the interface is pretty simple. It basically walks you through the steps: select a theme, run a simulation, and then review the results. So let's create our first simulation. We actually have 5 free simulations, which is nice for testing. I'll just call this one simulation test. Right now it automatically selects our current theme. But to run a simulation, we need to compare it against another theme. So we need an unpublished theme. So I'll quickly go back and duplicate the current theme. By the way, this is the store I borrowed. It's already set up with products, so we can actually test something realistic. Alright, now let's select the duplicated theme. And here we get the option to either start as soon as possible or start now, although the instant option isn't available yet. So let's go ahead and schedule the simulation. Okay, so now we see that our simulation will start soon. While this simulation starts running, let me quickly explain how this actually works. Basically, SimJim sends AI shoppers through your store. They browse products, open pages, add items to cart, and navigate the website like real customers would. Then the AI analyzes how the store performs, where shoppers click, where they drop off, and how they move through the store. So instead of waiting for real traffic, you can get simulated customer behavior almost instantly. If you're into breakdowns like this and ways to improve your Shopify store, make sure to subscribe. We post videos to help you get more sales every week. The simulation is running now, and we can actually see the AI shoppers in real time. Let's open one of the profiles. Funny thing is, each of these shoppers has its own type of behavior. For example, this one is a mid-tier shopper, which basically means it skims through options and makes decisions pretty quickly. If we scroll down, there's also a live preview of the AI bots browsing the store right now. And you can even see their thought process here. So instead of just showing numbers, it actually explains why the shopper behaves a certain way. That's actually pretty interesting. Let's go back, and as you can see, there are quite a lot of bots shopping the store right now. If you've tested something like this before, let me know. I'm curious what results you got. Normally, testing changes on your store is slow. You need real traffic. And that can take days, sometimes weeks. So most small stores don't test at all. They just blindly guess. That's where something like SimJim could actually be useful. Now, to be fair, this tool is still in research preview, so it's very new. I've seen a few early reviews and people are still figuring out how accurate the results actually are. So that's exactly what we're trying to see here. Alright, the simulation finished in under 4 minutes. Makes sense for a simple one-page store. And interestingly, the variation theme actually performed better. Technically, the variation shows almost a 98% higher add to cart rate, but that doesn't mean much here. These are identical themes. I just duplicated it to run the test. The difference is noise, not a real signal. This is actually something a lot of people may misread and think they found a winning variation. What is useful is the qualitative feedback. Because SimJim isn't just showing numbers, it's pointing out specific issues in the store. Here's what it actually flagged. Under what went right for the current theme, navigation and search are easy to access. Pages load quickly. On the variation side, pretty much the same story. Easy navigation, fast load times, clear pricing, and shipping info. Which makes sense because this is basically the same theme. Now looking at the recommendations. It suggests adding better categories, filters, and improving search. But to be fair, this is a one-page store, so things like categories and filtering aren't really relevant at this stage. But this is actually a good insight for the future. If this store grows into a proper brand with multiple products, this is exactly where structure starts to matter. Same thing on the variation side. Improve search, add filtering, and surface product details more clearly. This simulation is basically stress testing the same store from 2 different angles, and both angles land on a similar conclusion. The store works, but it's not optimized for discovery or deeper browsing, and some product details could be clearer, which is actually a good signal to revisit how the product is presented on the page. Let's see if we can find something more detailed in individual AI shoppers' feedback. I guess let's take this one. And you can see things like time spent, how many clicks they made, how many pages they visited, and their cart total. Alright, let's look at the session insights. So under product preferences, The AI was actually looking for premium organizers made of leather or wood. But our product isn't really positioned like that. And it's not even a typical organizer in the first place. So what's happening here is the AI is making its own assumption of what a premium organizer should look like and then trying to find that on the store. Now, what went well? It says search was easy to access and pages loaded fine. But to be honest, that's pretty basic. There's nothing complex about finding a search bar on a store like this. Now, what went wrong is more interesting. It says discoverability was low, no clear category, no filters, and no way to narrow things down. Let's actually look at the live session to see how it came to that conclusion. Alright, so the shopper goes into the catalog, sees all the products, but since it's looking for something more premium, it goes to search and tries something like leather organizer, and since we don't sell anything like that, it just hits a dead end. The result says the shopper didn't complete the goal because it couldn't find premium organizers. Which also makes sense because this store isn't positioned as a premium organizer brand. And the recommendations are basically the same. Add categories, improve search, add filtering. Those suggestions make more sense for larger multi-product stores or when the store starts scaling and expanding. Okay, so what I'm noticing here, a lot of these AI shoppers follow a similar pattern. They're looking for an organizer, land on the product, but it feels too cheap. So they go to search, trying to find a more premium option. And when they can't find it, they just leave the store. So this is really more of a positioning problem. The product is there, but it's not communicating enough value to match what the shoppers may expect. So if I was running this store, I'd test improving perceived value, better visuals, materials, maybe reposition it as more premium. Let's see how this evolves. Right now, it's still pretty simple, and you might get a few useful insights. But the potential here is actually huge. As these AI shoppers get more advanced, you start getting something very different from normal analytics, because usually you just see people leave, but here you actually see why they leave. I'd actually like to test this on a more complex store, maybe compare two slightly different themes and see how it behaves there. And since you get 5 free simulations, it's definitely worth testing on your own store. If you try it, drop your results in the comments. I'm curious what it finds.